Okay, good morning and welcome to Beitzah Daf.
Daf Yud.
Daf Yud, number 10. We have a minion of Dafim already.
Wow.
Actually, we don't have a minion of Dafim. You know why?
Because you didn't. Why? Because you weren't here on Yom Tov, Rosh Hashanah?
No, I davened in the Beitzah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So that's what you're sure used to them, right?
Yeah? I got a minion. A long minion. Where'd you daven? You daven in your house? Shmuel's afraid of the corona, as evidenced by the fact that he was wearing masks for the past
oh yeah,
couple
forgot about
weeks.
that. No, there was a. You should know there was a minion, an outdoor minion. You know that?
Baruch Hashem, thank God.
For the outdoorsy type.
Listen,
you know
people need they're different. Many of them have to cater to different people.
That's right.
Actually, I'll tell you my opinion on the matter. My opinion on the matter is that there shouldn't be so many minyanim in Telstone. I think there's way too many minyanim. This is a problem, I think, in the Jewish world. Tell me what you think about this, Shmuel, but I think there's just too many shuls. Every person wants their own shul. They want their own rabbi. They want their own gabbai. They want their own candyman. They just open up new shuls all the time. I went over to Yitzchak Ravitz, the mayor. I told him, listen, Telson is not such a big place. 3 shuls suffices. 1 Achuzat Yarim, Bnei Yeshivas, and 1 up the hill. You don't need 100 shuls. They have at least 15 shuls here. I don't know. They only have like a couple thousand people here.
By the way, do you know that Rabbi Rabbit has his own minion?
Yeah, he's part of the problem. It's a problem. He says to me, there were 12 Shvatim, and therefore each of the Shvatim had to daven in their own minion.
What did he say?
I said, I don't know. I didn't know what to say to him. It didn't make any sense what he was saying. 12 Shvatim, what's to do with minyanim? I don't know. 12 Shvatim each had their own derech, so they had to kulam, and he says, kulam mispalalim l'kel echad. Everyone's davening to the same God. We're not davening to the same God. Does it mean you have to have 12 minyanim? You have 3 minyanim. Should be more achdus in people. People shouldn't run to make their own stellar, their own. I want to daven for the Amud. I want to be the gabbai here. I want to be the rabbi here. Achdus, daven in one big shul. That's it. You don't make factions and factions. What is it? Agudas, agudas. The Gemara says, right? You're not supposed to make aguda. It says there's an Isra in the Torah. What does it say? Los is go to do. Los is go to do. It says in Gemara Yevamos. Los is go to do. Los asum agudas agudos. You shouldn't make groups.
That's why the shuls are getting split up.
It's a big problem. There's too many rabbis out there. There's too many gabbaim out there. Too many candy men out there. There's way too many. Yiddishkeit has to be centralized. It has to be centralized. Yiddishkeit.
Right.
It has to be centralized. Right. It can't be like this. This is out of hand.
It's getting bunkers. You know what I'm saying? Going bunkers.
Well, you agree with me on this. I'm happy.
No, I don't agree with you. I totally disagree with you.
What? You just said you agree with me.
Well, I think.
What does Rafal have to say about that?
You will just tweet if you wish.
What? What did Rafal say?
I don't want to say something.
Say
too many Daf Yomi.
Too many Daf Yomi shares. This is the best share. It should be central. No. It should be centralized into one share. Listen, I'm giving the best share, okay? Whoever is the best wins. Everyone should defect from the other shiurim and come to my share. Right, Rafal? Rafal, you know the truth, Rafal. You know it's the best. Rafal told me he's a korban before. He said, Eish Talmid al Mizbeach Tuka lo sichbeh. He told me he was a korban, so he couldn't participate in the share. He's busy being a korban. I don't know. Listen,
even if people, when you tell people somehow you bring out the very interesting responses from people. Rabbi Ravitz said these things before.
I interviewed Ravitz. You know that?
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
And he was
it's on my videos.
Really?
I interviewed him. I asked him some questions about Telstone. I wanted him to make a trolley. You know, one of those trains they have in the zoo.
Great idea.
Should around Telstone. There's no buses here. You can't get around. You
who
are living up Kuzarim, you know firsthand that what it's like.
I've been talking about it for years and years. That it's
a trolley. Wouldn't that be great?
And then if you get on the bus, they make you 5 shekel to get from
trolley. You pay 1 shekel. You take all your things from the makolet, and you
go
out
Kuzarim. I want you to know that now they're starting to have committees to speak about all these issues because it's changing the bus company. So if there's a time,
which company they changing it to? Kavim?
No, it's called Tanufa. I don't know what anything. I don't know.
Tanufa.
Probably the same. Tanufa.
You got free milk on the
The
the bus ride.
load truck comes here anyway, so you might as well pick up people.
Yeah, you go still with the milk in the back. In the
No,
back.
no, seriously, there's a guy who's in charge of it. Maybe he's thinking Motzah that he should iron those things because
I think it's a great idea. You should buy yourself a truck and gut it out.
Come, Rafal, be part of
you're
it.
gonna get more coffee all over yourself.
And
Rafal is saying something without, not in front of the camera. It's not accepted. It has to be in front of the camera.
Okay,
Oh, I
fine.
sure.
Do you think anybody's looking at you?
Say something. Say it loud so people can hear at least.
What I'm saying is that your trolley idea is an amazing idea.
Yeah.
You have to like get a truck, gut it out, make it like the red and black and all that colors with like, you know.
What are you so into the red and black colors? What does it matter? It's functional. It has to get people from place to place.
And
Doesn't
then
matter what it looks
every
like.
10 minutes it goes from top
Yeah,
to the
exactly.
bottom.
That's a great
and
idea,
every 10
right?
minutes it goes from the bottom to the top.
Isn't that a great idea?
I think you should do it. And
I
that
should do it.
And that it should match the colors of your iPhone.
Oh, he likes my. It's first of all, it's in a Samsung Galaxy. It's not an iPhone. It's
Oh.
red and black. You're right. I have a red protector to it. So Rafal thinks that I should have a red and black truck. I should gut out a milk truck, and make it red and black. I don't know how the milk truck's gonna be a trolley. You have to probably jump up high to get on top.
Well, and you need a bell.
Yeah, Bell, exactly.
You gotta
You know, they had for Ben Asmanim, they had one of these things. They had one of those rides on one of those cars.
That's right.
That's a great idea. I think it's the best idea in the world. It's so convenient, and you need it here.
I think if you want to quit your day job, I think it's something you should start.
No,
doing.
it's not up to me. I don't have the money to pay for this. But Ravitz has access to all the monies from the government they're giving to him.
No, they're changing the bus company. You know that they're changing the bus company.
Here.
Yes.
Anyway, back to the original question: why 10 is not a million?
They've opened up.
Because
They've opened up. They've opened up the airwaves. The airwaves to people should give their
Bids.
give what?
Their bids.
No, the bids. It's already a done deal. It's going to be Tanufa, this company. But they already requested people should give comments and requests and things and talk about what has to be changed. And
Shmuel's on the board of this
I saw
committee.
this, my wife gets emails from the Toaststone people, and they said
They actually do Tnu. It's called Tnufa, means waving.
Pesach time, I think.
So you take Shmuel Rafal's gonna bring the karbanos because he's a karban. He's gonna bring a karban.
And you're
Everyone's
do
gonna
the
wave. You're gonna wave.
Okay,
You send the seats to
let's
wave.
start the document.
All right.
Thank you, Rafal.
Rafal, say hi to the camera. See your face. Come on. I just see a talus and some tefillin. That's what you want to be. You just want to be a talus and tefillin, not a person. See that face. Rafal's embarrassed. All right. Amir says, the top of Yud Amid Aleph. First of all, back to the original question, why Daf Yud can't be a minion, because the Gemara says it starts in Daf Beis, so it's only two. It's only not the ninth Daf. All right. Gemara says, Einoslin Ella Ikasha Hakasha, the fourth line. Beishami Omer Einoslin as Eli Lakatza Basar. You can't take a pestle. You know what a pestle is? Pestle is the type of thing you used to grind with, a piece of wood that you used to press down to grind things up with. You want to use it instead of grinding with it. You want to use it as a cutting board to cut meat with it. You can't do it. It's muksa. But you tell them here, and they say it's even though it's muksa, right? Muksa machmas klishul machtal iser because of simple zion that we matter it. I don't got simple zion to be shaman the korban is lakula. So see the opposite of our Mishnah, Verminu Hashoket Chayev Of. Beit Shammai is Matir and Beit Hillel is Machmir. Amar Yochanan Mochlevet Hashit. You have to change around the Shitas. Beit Shammai is the one here in this Mishnah. Beit Shammai is the one who's making. And Beit Hillel is Machmir. Shammai is only over there with the Decker notes. That it's a separate kula because the Decker notes he felt he can make was Yom Tov. Inami Akan Lokamer Beit Hillel Haka. Here, at least, maybe it's not even muksa at all. There has a Torah's kli. It's used for something. Al hasam lo. There, by kisei adam, he's not makel. Eli kasha hakasha. If you want to have a question, this is the question. You can't take a hide, the skin of an animal, and put it in front of the door as a doormat. You can't pick it up because it's muksa unless it has meat on it. Because it has meat on it, you can pick it up because of the meat. The reason you can't put it down as a doormat is because people are going to tan it unintentionally, which is ma'abed, which is derabanan. If they do it unintentionally, it's only derabanan. But you still matir, and they say because simchas Yom Tov you're allowed to pick it up and you're allowed to put it as a doormat. It makes your Yom Tov more enjoyable. Alma gavi simchas Yom Tov v'jam v'chumra v'zil l'kula. So you see the opposite of Mishnah. Minu asher chayv el pi Yom Tov. Same question. Amar b'yocham chalev is a sheet. Yochan's famous answer. He switched it around here, according to Rashi, that Beit Shammai is making and Beit Hillel is machmir and mai. Whereas maybe it's not true. Dem aloi. I can't look at Beit Shammai hasam el hechadika deker notes. They're really making because you have the spade already in the ground, so we're not worried about trina. Aval hechadika deker notes. No, inami I can't look at Beit Hillel hacha el dechazi lemizgalav. Because it's fit to be leaned on. It actually has a shimush. It's not considered muksa. Al hasam. And therefore, there's a necessity to lean on it. So therefore, simchas Yom Tov is docha the isur derabbanan ma'abin. Avahasam lo, there's no reason to do it. We're worried about tchina. It's not immediate simchas Yom Tov, so we're machmir. El ikasha akasha. Sharon remembers in the streets of Yom Tov. You can't take the shutters from your store. People used to take down their shutters that close the windows in their store, and they used to put it as like a tray to put their goods on top of the tray in order to make it appeasing in the eyes of people. Beyond the Yisrael Matir and Aflahach. The Yisrael say now they can take it off and put it under the merchandise.
What did they sell the things on?
Things that could be bought on Yom Tov.
They used to have it like open. The stores were open on Yom Tov.
Believe it or not, the Gemara's version of Shabbos and Yom Tov was a little different than ours. They didn't throw stones on Shabbos and Yom Tov. I'm telling you. A lot of things that if we took ourselves back to the years of the Gemara, we inserted the Gemara's philosophy into 2021, you would see that half of the things that are usher on Shabbos are really mutter. The Yetzer Hara has put chumrah after chumrah after chumrah into Jewish society, where one of the eitzos, the Yetzer Hara has two eitzos. One is to make you sin, and one is to make you add extra chumras. It goes both ways, equally. I'm telling you, it's the truth. After estimate tshuva, you should, just as much as you do tshuva on the sins that you did, you should do tshuva on the chumras that you took upon yourselves. I'm not kidding here. This is the eights of the Yetzer Hara. I'm telling you. I found it out personally myself. I was one of those people. First of all, I grew up as a modern Orthodox person. I wouldn't say I was a sinner, but I did Averos. I don't remember making too many brachos when I was younger. I did a lot of Averos. On the other hand, then I became very frum.
What you used to call
No, I call it stam. No, whatever. That's not so big Avera, but I did other Averos. So I tried to do tshuva for them. I used to learn in Oral Khanan when I had Rav Kodesh. Yeah. No, I never learned Rav Kodesh. Okay, anyway.
That's crazy.
No, but listen, I'm telling you, I became very frum, and I was taking all these chumras upon myself. I wasn't living in this world. My mind was in the clouds. I'm telling you, it's a huge. These chumras, they destroy your life. Precious and listen, it says about precious and Mesilas Yesharim. It's for a little bit of time, maybe to work on it, but then you go back to being normal. You know, I overdid it a little bit. I'll be honest with you. I came back to normalcy a couple years ago. I'm saying when I got married, I was, rocked back into normalcy because you realize that life is to be on the ground, not in the air. Anyway, you can't live with chumras. They make your life crazy and give you a lot of kavod. They take you away from the world. They make you into a tzaddik. People give you kavod as being a tzaddik, and they take you away from being a normal person.
That's the most interesting insights and ideas.
I'm telling you, it's from experience, personal experience. I went from
it's your personal experience.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's
Exactly.
your personal experience.
But no one came back. No one came back to Earth. People went to the clouds. They died in the clouds. They didn't come back to Earth.
The clouds. That sounds like a part of a song of one of these.
Yeah. They died in the clouds.
Songs.
A lot of tzaddikim die in the clouds. Their head are in the clouds. They're not in this world.
Let's go
All right.
down to real Earth. Let's go
We're in
about
Earth now. Okay.
So
Amos says you don't do Islam Matir Avlahachser. They say you can even return it because if you don't return it, he's not going to do it on Yom Tov. Alma, there's a problem of binyan derabanan and stira derabanan, right? You're building and you're taking off the trees, which are basically in the place of windows, right? So it's a binyan and stira. I'm going to say the Beis Shammai l'chum, Beis Hillel l'kol, Beis Hillel is mekel. Reminu Ashok Chayvo Piyom Tov. Somewhere says Bishlam Beis Shammai l'kasha. You can resolve Beis Shammai. Why are they mekel in the Mishnah? Machmir here. Hasam dika dekanot. Hachal dika dekanot. Again, they're only mekel when you have dekanot. So Beis Hillel, Beis Hillel kasha. How are you going to resolve Beis Hillel? I'm Rabbi Yochanan Muklevis Hashita. You have to switch it around. You're going to say Beis Shammai is the one who allows you to misalik the trees, and Beis Hillel doesn't allow you to. Inami, a different answer. I'd kind of look on Beis Hillel hacha el mishum dein binyan mekiel and stir. It's not because it's binyan derabanan and stir derabanan, because as soon as you we allow it. The different reason is because it ain't binyan mekiel and stir. Mekiel is only bakarka. There's binyan and stira, but when it comes to shutters, which are metaltalin, there's no binyan and stira. Mekilim al hasam below. But there in the Mishnah, we're not going to make. Okay. Please don't echo me, because otherwise people can't hear. The Mishnah. Beis Shammai Omrim. How many minutes are we into this? 15 minutes. All right, halfway. Beis Shammai Omrim lo yitol elam kein nanam mivod yom. You can't take birds unless you actually you move them around before Yom Tov. Then we're confident that you're going to take the birds. You know what birds you had, and you're going to take those birds and shech them on Yom Tov. And therefore, it's considered not muksa. So he's in order to prepare them, there should be muksa. Talking about doves over here. Doves are not domesticated birds. They're birds which come from the world, whatever, outside, and therefore you have to make on them. They're not considered like a rooster. If it's omid la'achila, or a hen is omid la'achila, you're allowed to shech it on Yom Tov. You don't have to prepare. But this you have to prepare. How do you prepare? Beis says verbally. Beis Shammai says you have to actually do a physical act. Talk about the first brood. Beis Shammai, right? Apparently, doves have a male and a female. Those are articles. So every month, one male and one female for all the 6 months of the summer. So Breicha Rishona Machlok is by the first brood. Because normally they left the first brood for the mother, they didn't take it to shecht it. So Beis Shammai says even though now you change your mind and you want to shecht it on Yom Tov, you have to actually handle it beforehand. Otherwise, we're concerned you're going to change your mind.
Baby birds.
Right. Otherwise, you're going to change your mind. Meaning you're going to pick them up and then you're going to not shecht them. And then, I mean, if you don't handle them before, so then you'll handle them on Yom Tov for the first time. And when you handle them for the first time, you're going to maybe decide, oh, you have compassion on it, or it's not as fat as you want. So you'll do tiltul shalol l'tzorah. We tell savri lo gazrina. We're not worried. I'll break a shnia. Divrei hakol b'omer omer zevzeni notel sagya. When it comes to the second brew, which normally is taken for shechita, normally killed, everyone agrees. Even Shammai agrees, and you just have to verbally say it. We're not worried he's going to do a tiltul shalol l'tzorah. Why do you have to even say the words? You say, I'm taking from this whole dove coat. He doesn't specify which birds. And obviously this principle, when he says Mekana Ninotel, is relying on Breira, whichever one he turns out to take. That's what he meant when he said Mekana Ninotel. They don't hold of Breira. But now we see a Mishnah, they do hold of Breira. You have a dead person in a house, and there's a lot of ways to take them out. A lot of doorways, a lot of windows that are 4 tefachim by 4 tefachim. Kulam tmeim. They're all open. They're all tummy because it's possible he'll take them out anyway. So therefore, any kalim which are in the doorways become tummy. Niftach echad mehen. Let's say, as the maid is dying, only one door is open. The rest are closed. Hu tummy. That door we can assume is where you're taking them out. So only kalim in that doorway is tummy. The kulam torah. All the other kalim that are in the other doorways are katar. Let's say he had in mind. They're all open, but he had in mind to take it out one of them. Or a chalon, which is 4 tefachim by 4 tefachim, big enough to be considered a doorway. And therefore we consider that's the door you're taking it out, and the other ones are tor. What does it mean he had in mind? He had to have in mind before the mace actually died. Even once that person dies, he has in mind because we rely on Breira. Right, we rely on Breira. That
he died already.
Right, even right because the
tomb already is here.
Right, the tomb is already here. We can rely on the machshava after
and that
he
makes
died.
That
right, because we can assume that's what he had in mind. It was hope for Freya that he had in mind to do that, to take it out of that Pesach when it was dying. Hey, the person was dying. Hey, Marala, Marin says not true. I'm a rabbi. The tires of Pesachim, you can't rabbi. Chama is my wife. She's calling me. I can't stop the share. I'll have to call her back later. So the Gemara says, "Hey, Marala, I'm a rabbi. Tires of Pesachim, you can't lahaba." we're talking about being Matar the Psachim, Mikana Lahaba. He said he didn't say that Lamafreya, all the Psachim are Tami. It's only now when he thinks it after the mace dies, it works to Matar the other Psachim and all, but not Lamafreya. So there's a hold of Breira. So therefore, that answers the question. So it really doesn't hold a brera. Rava amar la'olam l'mafreya. Really, you could say in the case of the mace coming out of the house, it's matayir l'mafreya. V'hachayin taima. Why does he hold a brera over here? Dilma matalta v'shavik matalta v'shavik. Like matalta midi d'lo chazi like. Because even if he says mikanani notel, and he doesn't, he says mikanani notel. I see that my wife is calling again. She called the third time. I have to stop. He says, "V'kani notel." All right. So the Gemara says, "Hani milim erev Yom Tov." That's talking about when he says, "Zev zani notel erev Yom Tov." Yom Tov aser. Even if he would say Zev zani notel, he said it on Yom Tov itself. He didn't say it before. It's aser, even though he could technically be called preparing. Because he didn't prepare before Yom Tov, so he didn't have in mind which one. So he wasn't mentally prepared to take the one that he is going to take. So he has to make a split decision, what is it? Split second decision. And he's going to take a fat bird, and he doesn't want a fat bird, he wants a skinny bird. I'll take a skinny bird, he wanted a fat bird. If he mentally prepares himself before Yom Tov, he says, Zevzani Notel, so therefore he'll take whatever he planned, and he won't take something muksa. Alternatively, right, if he doesn't prepare from before Yom Tov, he'll find out, and he says Zevzani Notel on Yom Tov, right? He'll find out that all of them are kushim, and if he did an Erev Yom Tov, so we could assume that he mentally prepared, I'll take them whatever they are, and I'll eat them, and I'll have Simchas Yom Tov, I'll have birds to eat on Yom Tov. But if he doesn't do that, so then we're concerned he's going to find them all to be lean birds, not fatty, and he's not going to shecht any of them, and he's not going to have Simchas Yom Tov, he's not going to have birds. Therefore, you have the same account. He's any notel before Yom Tov. Mishnah. Zimin shchorim u'matzah levanim. Levanim u'matzah shchorim. If he prepared blackbirds and he found white birds, levanim u'matzah shchorim. Or prepared white birds and he found blackbirds, right, in the same place where the white birds were. Shnayim u'matzah shlosha. Or he prepared two birds and he found three birds. Asurim. We're asur because we're concerned that the birds flew away and there are new birds that came, which he didn't prepare. And they're muksa. Shlosha u'matzah shnayim. If he prepared three birds and he found two birds where the three birds were, mutarim. It's mutar, we can assume one left and the other two were prepared. B'tocha kanu matzah lefnei, he prepared the birds inside the pigeonhole. And he found it outside the pigeonhole, on a little, out on the ledge outside. Asurim, they're asur, we assume the ones inside flew away and the new ones. If there's no other birds in that region, there's no other doves floating around that region, so therefore we can assume that the ones that were inside came out and came onto the ledge. The Gemara says pshita. It's pasha. It's pasha. It's pasha that if you prepared white birds and you found black birds, they're different. There are other birds that came alma from somewhere else that weren't prepared. He prepared actually blackbirds and white birds, and they just switched, and then they were switched places, and the blackbirds were found where the white birds were, and the white birds were found where the blackbirds were. You might think, Hani Inu Ninu, maybe the same ones. They just traded places. Really, we assume that all the birds flew away, and there's new birds here. It's a proof to Rabbi Chanina. It should be a proof to Rabbi Chanina. Rabbi Chanina, rov v'karov halach karov. If you have rov birds, a majority, and you have karov, meaning karov, something which is close, which is more important, which is more chashuv. You go after halach karov. Rov is more important in deciding what the halacha is than karov. And over here, even though, right, you had birds that were next to each other, the white birds were next to the black birds, and they were karov, right? So we could assume that if you would say karov, you'd say they switch places. But rove, there's a lot of birds in the world, so therefore we can assume that they left, and there are other birds. So you go with rove or karov, that's why you answer it. So the Gemara says, the Gemara rejects that. Now, Abai, really, we don't have to say that. We're talking about there's a ledge outside the pigeonhole. Since there's a ledge outside the pigeonhole, so therefore, a lot of birds, other birds, frequent that pigeonhole, and they're also karov. So even if you hold if karov is more important than rove, karov has rove also. Karov has other birds, so a lot more other birds, and they're karov also. So it's not because of rove and karov; it's just rove and karov beats out karov. Okay, shnayim u'masa shlosha asurin. If you had two, when you found three, it's asur manav shach. If there are other birds, the two flew away, and there's three new birds or other birds, they weren't prepared. Even if one, if there's an extra bird, there were two birds that you prepared, and a third bird came and joined them, it's still one bird that's asur. It's not mukhan. It's muksa. Since it's muksa, it's muksa. So therefore, it's mixed together with them, so you can't use any of them. What about bittul barov? Two good birds and one bad bird. So the answer is that Master Rishon say that we say is davar sheish lamatirin over here. You don't say bittul barov when it's davar sheish lamatirin, and you could use these birds after Yom Tov. So therefore, davar sheish lamatirin doesn't allow you to use rov. That's one of the answers. Or there's another answer. It's davar chashuv, a live animal. You can't use bittul barov. All right. Shlosha matzah shnayim mutar. If you had three and then you ended up with two, it's mutar. My time. What's the reason you could roll? You could be makel over here. Hani inu ninu v'chad minayim azal alma. They're really the same thing. They're really the same birds. These last two that remained, and one of them left. That's what we can assume. L'masis and Rebbe he will rabbanon. Say our mission is like Rebbe now like rabbanon. The sani niach mano matzah masayim. Let's say you have a mana. You have 100 pounds of meiser sheni, and you found 200 pounds. Pounds could be money or it could be a weight. Pounds, the English pound, whatever. Chulin meiser sheni murav and tebuzah. Rebbe holds that the meiser sheni stayed there, and there's another chulin, and someone came and put another package of 100 pounds of chulin. Chum say that all the everything was taken away by one person, and there's new things there. I'm going to assume they're chulin because rov money is chulin, not meiser sheni. Let's say he had 200 pounds there of meiser sheni, and he only found 100 pounds there. Mana munach and mana mutal. Rabbi assumes again that one of them stayed there and one of them was taken. Rabbi say everything was taken, and we go after rove of the money in the world is chulin, so therefore all the money there is chulin. So you see, like Rabbi, that we assume that that when three were there and two were left, so two stayed there, and the third one went away. Because according to the Rabbanan, we should assume that all of them went away. Afilu tema Rabbanan. Rabbi Yochanan Lezer, shiny goes all as whole as suyin l'dados. Money, the Rabbanan say, if one of them is gone, so we can assume both of them are gone, were taken, because it's deliberate. Someone takes it, and it has to be a decisive action. Someone's coming to take it. So if he's going to take one, he's going to take two. But birds, they just hop around. So therefore, it's very mustaber. It's very assumable by themselves. One of them just hopped away. Why do we have to do this answer? The goats are different. The little birds, little chicks are different because they hop away. They heed the Rabbi Yochanan Lezer about Rabbi Yochanan Lezer's machlokas. They say the machlokas Rabbi and the Rabbanan is but talking about two pouches of money. When it comes to one patch of meiser sheni, like it's mixed with chulin money, everyone agrees it's chulin because it was taken away. No one's going to take half of it and leave the other half. One of them, a different one of them, Rabbi Yochanan Rabbi Lezer says, machlokas. Rabbi and the Rabbanan is talking about by one pouch. By two pouches, we assume that one was taken away and one was left, like Rabbi's svara. Machlokas, Rabbi and the Rabbanan is talking about two pouches. And it's because the case of gozalos is like two kisim, like two pouches, two separate things. The birds are all separate. Yeah, so therefore you have to give an answer that it's different than money. Money is deliberate action taken away, but gozalos can just by themselves hop away. Manamunach Manamutal, that Rebbe and Rabbanim would agree that when it comes to Shnei Kisin, like Shnei Gozalos, one of them was taken away and one was left. Why do you have to give her the answer that Gozalos? It's the exact same case. It's the exact same case as the Mari Meiser Sheni. One was taken away. The Rabbanan agreed to Rebbe and Manamunach and Manamutal. The one was taken away, one was left. Whereas the Hamar B'Shnei Kisin Lo Pligi. I remember Shnei Kisin Lo Pligi. You said that by 2 pouches. They never maklokas. Amar Ravashi Hacha B'Gozalos Mekushar Mekisim Mekushar Maskina. When we say that we're talking about 1 pouch, we're not talking about 1 pouch. Literally, we're talking about that they were tied together. It's really two pouches, but they were tied together. That's why it's machlokas Rebbe and the Rabbanan. We're talking about the case of the birds. Also in our Mishnah, it's talking about they were tied together. 3 birds were tied together. In the case of Rebbe and the Rabbanan, with the Meiser Sheni, is the pouches were tied together. So according to Madamar, it says machlokas is b'kis echad. So it's really talking about not really 1 kiss, but it's talking about 2 pouches that were tied together. Gozalos mintachi adadi, and that's where the machlokas was. So therefore, you have to give the answer that gozalos are medadin. Gozalos mintachi adadi. Gozalos could actually break the knot because they hop around. Kisin lo mintachi adadi. Kisin the knot is not going to break unless someone actually came there, and therefore he came there, he took both of them. Rebbe Amar Lecha, and Rebbe would say to you, Kisin nami zimnin demisachel kichai. What did Rebbe say? He says manamunach manamutal. So why shouldn't the person take both of them? He says sometimes the knot gets untied by accident, and therefore one person took one Meiser Sheni and he left the other Meiser Sheni. Okay, with that, we'll conclude today's shir. Have a good Shabbos, everybody. Good you are.